Madison Square Garden doesn't care about reputations. It doesn't flinch at hype. It has seen too many legends fall to be impressed by records alone. On this night, the Garden hums differently, not loud yet heavy, the kind of silence that waits for something irreversible. Gennady Golovkin walks in first, calm, unreadable, the embodiment of inevitability. 36 fights, 36 wins, 33 knockouts, an Olympic medalist turned executioner. Men didn't just lose to Golovkin, they dissolved under him. Across the ring stands Daniel Jacobs, a fighter whose presence already defies logic. Years earlier, doctors questioned whether he'd live, let alone fight. Cancer nearly took everything. Boxing gave it back. Now he's here not as a guest, not as a victim, but as a challenger. Jacobs isn't loud. He isn't reckless. He knows what this building does to fighters who show fear. The announcer's voice echoes through the arena, but the real noise is internal. The fighters calculating, remembering, suppressing doubt. Golovkin's face never changes. Jacobs breathes deep. The bell hasn't rung yet, but the fight has already started. This isn't about belts. This is about whether power always wins, whether survival is enough, whether the most feared man in boxing can be made to work. The Garden waits because somewhere in these 12 rounds it knows it will be told the truth. Bell rings and something unexpected happens. Nothing explodes. Golovkin advances like a glacier, patient, deliberate. Jacobs doesn't run, he circles. That alone is a statement. Fighters who flee Golovkin don't last. Jacobs probes with the jab, testing distance, not ego. The crowd murmurs. They're used to violence early, to that heavy inevitability snapping into place. But Jacobs refuses to give Golovkin the rhythm he feeds on. Golovkin watches, reading, filing information away. This is a hunter who never swings blindly. Every step closes space. Every feint threatens consequence. Jacobs feels the power even when it misses. The air shifts when Golovkin throws. In these early moments, the fight becomes psychological. Can Jacobs stand his ground without being reckless? Can Golovkin impose fear without landing clean? The answer is delayed. That delay is dangerous. Golovkin's legend is built on certainty, on endings. Jacobs is offering questions. By round 2, Golovkin's jab snaps harder, thudding into guard, into shoulders, into intent. Jacobs absorbs it, answers back just enough. He isn't winning yet, but he isn't shrinking. That matters. In boxing, survival isn't passive, it's active resistance. As the round's close, Golovkin hasn't detonated. The crowd senses it. The Garden has seen power punchers before. What it's watching now is restraint. And restraint against Golovkin is unfamiliar territory. By the third round, respect hardens into tension. Golovkin opens up slightly, left hook to the body, right hand over the top. But Jacobs reads it, rolls with it, answers back inside. A clean left lands for Jacobs. The arena reacts sharply. Not because it hurt Golovkin, but because it landed at all. Few fighters touch him clean. Fewer do it without consequence. Golovkin doesn't blink. He answers with a jab that snaps Jacobs' head back just enough to remind him who holds the leverage. Jacobs stays present. He's not overwhelmed. He's not dazzled. This is where most challengers crumble, realizing the monster is real. Jacobs already knows. He's been through worse. The packing becomes chess-like. Golovkin presses, Jacobs adjusts. The crowd grows restless. They don't yet realize they're watching something rare, a fight that refuses to follow the script. Golovkin wants to break patterns. Jacobs wants to disrupt them. Neither man gives ground easily. When the bell ends the round, both corners talk with urgency. Golovkin's voice is calm, clinical. Jacobs' corner speaks strategy, belief. 3 rounds in, there's no blood, no drama, just something more dangerous, uncertainty. Round 4 answers the waiting question. It doesn't arrive with thunder, it arrives with timing. Golovkin steps in, short right hand, compact and perfect. Jacobs goes down. Madison Square Garden erupts, relief washing through the crowd like permission to believe again. This is what was expected. This is order restored. Golovkin stands over Jacobs briefly, composed, already calculating the finish. But Jacobs rises quickly, too quickly. He clears the cobwebs, steadies his feet, looks Golovkin in the eyes. There's no desperation in him, no panic. The knockdown scored points, not fear. Golovkin attacks, forcing Jacobs backward, unloading combinations designed to end nights. Jacobs holds, moves, survives, and then something shifts. The knockdown didn't break Jacobs, it freed him. He now knows Golovkin can hurt him. More importantly, he knows he can take it. Fighters change when they discover that. The round ends with Golovkin clearly ahead, but the crowd senses it. The fight didn't end when it was supposed to. It evolved. Jacobs does something bold. He switches southpaw. Against most fighters, it's a gimmick. Against Golovkin, it's a disruption. Suddenly, angles change. Golovkin's jab has to recalibrate. His hook meets different timing. Jacobs starts landing in bunches, not heavy but effective. Golovkin absorbs them without flinching, but now he's adjusting rather than imposing. This is unfamiliar. Jacobs isn't trying to outgun Golovkin, he's trying to outthink him. The fight becomes layered. Golovkin pressures relentlessly, digging to the body, snapping jabs upstairs. Jacobs answers with combinations, movement, subtle pivots. The crowd senses momentum shifting, not wildly but enough to matter. Golovkin still owns the center. Jacobs owns the uncertainty. By the end of the round, it's clear, this isn't a mismatch. This is a problem Golovkin must solve. Round 6 and 7 are labor. Golovkin increases output, doubles the jab, targets the body with intent. Jacobs responds, refusing to be bullied. They trade in close quarters, both landing, neither retreating. Golovkin's punches thud. Jacobs punches surprise. The myth of invincibility begins to crack, not because Golovkin is losing, but because he's being tested. Champions aren't defined by domination alone. They're defined by response. Golovkin responds by grinding forward, absorbing shots, returning fire. Jacobs responds by staying creative, refusing to wilt. The fight tightens. Every round feels precious. Judges lean in. Corners shout urgency. The Garden is fully engaged now, caught between awe and disbelief. Round 8, fatigue creeps in, but so does clarity. Golovkin's jab becomes sharper, more authoritative. Jacobs' combinations become more selective. Neither man wants to give away momentum. The exchanges are violent but controlled. Golovkin lands a power jab that snaps heads back. Jacobs answers with a hook inside. This isn't chaos, it's mastery under stress. Both men are solving problems in real time, with consequences measured in pain. Golovkin remains composed. Jacobs remains defiant. The audience understands it now. They're watching elite boxing, not a highlight reel. Rounds 9 and 10 bring urgency. Golovkin presses harder, knowing the knockdown may be the difference. Jacobs digs deep, landing body shots, refusing to concede ground. The fight is close, dangerously close. Golovkin's power still commands respect, but Jacobs' resilience demands it in return. Every exchange could tilt the narrative. The Garden senses the stakes. Legends aren't built only on knockouts. Sometimes they're built on decisions that test belief. Rounds 11 and 12 are about identity. Golovkin digs to the body, throws uppercuts, forces exchanges. Jacobs fires back with courage, timing, and heart. Neither man breaks. Golovkin looks for something decisive. Jacobs looks to deny it. The final bell rings with no collapse, no surrender, just exhaustion and respect. The crowd stands. Whatever the decision, something has been proven. Scorecards read unanimous, but the debate begins instantly. Golovkin keeps his belts. Jacobs keeps his honor. The knockdown separates them on paper, but the fight binds them in history. Golovkin remains champion, but no longer myth alone. Jacobs doesn't win the belts, but he wins permanence. Madison Square Garden has seen its truth. Power matters, but heart, intelligence, and survival matter too. This wasn't a destruction, it was a reckoning.